Hey guys, here with Rob Fournier, the head baseball coach at Wabash Valley College. And really, I over the last couple of years, Wabash Valley College is probably one of the most winning programs in the country, not just at the junior college level, but at the level nationwide. So any level nationwide. So Rob, thanks for coming on with us today, man.
It's been a pleasure. I was excited. Was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, so if you would I believe you're from Southern California, is that right?
Absolutely.
All right, so if you can, kind of give us a brief overview of your playing and coaching career.
Sure. So it all kind of started. I'm a Southern California guy, and I grew up right outside of Los Angeles. Played at Nordhoff High School, and decided to take the junior college route right down the road at Ventura Junior College, and there and decided, you know what, I'm going to try something new, and I'm going to get out of the state and broaden my horizon a little bit, and decided to go to a small private school. It was an NAIA school at the time called McMurray College as far as baseball goes, and decided to go there. I actually was heading there with three of my best friends at Ventura Junior College, but at the last moment, they kind of bowed out on me and stuck me on my own. I decided to go out and played my 2 years at McMurray College, and decided to stay there as a graduate assistant. And I was there for about a year and a half. I had a wonderful time. Had a really good head coach under Tom Lenz at the time, and had a great relationship with him. Learned a lot, and decided I was going to head back to California and take the job at Ventura Junior College. And then this job opened up at Wabash Valley right at the semester. And I just kind of got lucky and fell into that job and decided to take it, obviously. And I was only 23, and the rest is history. I've been there ever since, and it's a beautiful thing. I love junior college, love what I do, and very blessed.
That is an awesome story because, when I was coaching in college, you had the West Coast guys come out, and it's funny how many of them stay in the Midwest after. I guess
Absolutely.
it's kind of like a change of pace or whatever the case may be. But I that's cool. I didn't know that. I'm glad you were able to tell that. So, all right, man, you guys have churned out some dudes for a really, really long time. How long have you been out at Wabash Valley?
So this was going to be my 25th, 25 years. Going into 25, I believe it is.
That's awesome.
Try not to count them.
Yeah, and you guys have churned out some, guys. We're talking, I don't know how many draft picks over the last 5 years. It's been a few, multiple guys go on Division I level. From a recruiting standpoint, what are some tangibles and intangibles that you look at when you're recruiting prospective student athletes?
Well, obviously, times have changed since I just started out, several years ago, but nothing's changed as far as recruiting a certain kind of guy that we've had success with. And the first thing we try to look at is just how competitive is the young man. Does he come from a good program? How many things do we have to try to fix or try to improve on? And our biggest thing is just, can he compete? We try to recruit a lot of shortstops that can move around, a lot of good athletes and center fielders and catchers, but we want to get guys who are competitive and get them for the right reasons, and we always talk about the right fit. So I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and I think junior college is a great route for guys, especially, for a number of reasons. Number one, you're able to play more games. Your practice time isn't kind of limited. You don't have big brother so much. So if you're a guy that really likes to play, I think it's a great spot. What, from a tangible standpoint, you said that you try to recruit a lot of shortstops. What are you looking for on the mound?
On the mound it's the same thing that I've talked about with our assistant coaches for a long time. We want guys that throw strikes, that have clean arms, that we can project and we can develop. And obviously the word competitive is going to keep coming up because that's what we try to look for in every guy, fielder or outfielder. But we want guys with good deliveries, clean arm actions, the velocity. Obviously, everybody's recruiting velocity these days, and that's perfectly fine. But I think for us, it's the ability to throw strikes and get guys that we know that are going to get stronger, that we feel really confident and really strong that we can develop, young guys, and be able to spin the breaking ball. And those are things that for us, I think that we do a really good job is just developing guys. But if you got a good delivery, you got a clean arm action, I think we got a really good chance to be successful in our program.
Yeah, so we had a guy come to you, I guess it was a couple years ago, Price Adams, who's almost like exactly who you're talking about.
Yep.
Clean, quick arm. Velocity wasn't great when he was coming out of, in today's terms. Realistically, he was really good, but he was just a young, kind of underdeveloped kid, and he came to you guys and was, stuff got a lot better, and now he's at Western Kentucky now. So
absolutely.
So those are the type of guys you're looking for. And I think a lot of times people don't understand what projection is, and they think just because you're big or
right
this, and that's not always the case. So appreciate you kind of diving into that and give us a look behind the curtain there.
Yeah, I still remember that conversation when you called me and we had talked about, Price, and said, hey, this guy's he's got a really quick arm. He's athletic. And I remember that. I said, bingo, that's a guy that we really think would develop. And you're right on about the size. It's nice to be 6'3", 6'4", what have you. But, Price was a perfect example of an golf in our program. So his velocity went up, his ability to throw strikes went up, and I thought he matured a lot. So that was a perfect kid, and I obviously thank you for helping us out.
Well, we appreciate, we always talk about when, privately, just we love sending guys to you, man, just because we know they're going to get seen and they're going to get better, and and you guys win. Like, everybody loves to win. I don't care what anybody says. Winning is fun. So
that's right. There's no other way to slice that.
Yeah. And while we're talking about winning, how do you do it, man? Like, how did you develop your winning culture? And, it was, I mean, I know when I first got into college baseball as a coach, okay, not necessarily as a player, but you guys were winning back then. I mean, I'm still, I'm probably that last generation of college coaches that still had to go to payphones to do routine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or we used to get yelled at when I was coaching at Spalding for calling before 7 o'clock out of the office phone.
Right.
Those were the times back then. And so
right.
You guys have been doing this a long time, man. So, kind of give us another peek behind the curtain of how you do it.
Sure. Well, one of the biggest things in obviously recruiting is one of the most important things, if not the most important thing. But we just talk about this all the time, that everything counts. And we want to put the utmost emphasis on recruiting, player development, our practice. And most importantly, we talk about it again, is competing. So when we dive into recruiting, we want our assistants to really compete. There's no other way of doing it, but you got to work. You got to get out and see kids. And from a from a recruiting standpoint, we believe strongly that you got to see kids and you got to feel like, hey, this is the right fit for us, and this guy's going to do what we want him to do, and our program. So recruiting, and I think that's one thing. But once they get to our program, is you have to have a lot of pride in getting kids better, and that has to be the utmost thing of just talking about those two words, getting better. And so that all comes from working hard. There's no other way to do it, as well as you got to work and practice and compete. We put a major emphasis on recruiting and competing in practice, and we like to build some depth with our guys, because I think that's a big motivational tool for our program and for baseball in general, but just in life. Is I think that you have to learn how to compete, and so that's a big deal. We want to see kids multiple times at their best and their worst, to see how they deal with some adversity. So there's so many things that go into it, but I would say competing, I would say recruiting, I would say player development are the biggest things that we really strive for.
Yeah, man. And I think that's what a lot of people, it seems to me like kids are afraid of depth. And it's like
Yeah,
this double-edged sword, you know, that
right,
where they go, okay, don't know if I'm going to play or whatever the case may be. But man, I think you're dead on that depth is what creates
sure,
culture because I either got to get better or I got to get out. Like,
right,
and it's one of those deals that um, we try to stress to our kids that, man, if you want to go to a good program, if you want to go, there's gonna be other good players there. And so, it's that I think
right,
that's a huge point that people are really kind of afraid to talk about. So I appreciate you kind of touching on that.
right.
So
And
I mean,
that's the thing. You can't be afraid to talk about it because bottom line is kids, they come to junior college because they want to go, whether it's a big Power 5 or get drafted.
right.
Well, here's your opportunity, bud, and let's go to work. And we don't, it doesn't matter the same situation. We're still going to work with you. We're still going to dominate practices, but you have to be willing to compete if you really honestly want to make it in pro ball or to, it doesn't matter whether it's NAI or it's Division II or Division III. You're going to have to compete if you want to be an elite program.
Absolutely. 100%, man. Hey, so what advice do you have for these guys moving forward? I know we're in tough times and no one knows really, you know, kind of what to do. So what's your advice for players today?
Sure, we talk about this all the time, but right now this is an opportunity. It's obviously a tough time and for everybody, but you really get to see what kids really love the game. Because if you don't love the game, it's only going to take you so far. So kids who really love the game like to do things on their own, like to lift, like to practice. I know you don't have access to a lot of hitting facilities or BP and all that kind of stuff, but there is many ways to get better, whether it's stuff at your house, from body weight stuff to anything conditioning wise. Just find a way. So you will really get to find out right now when I call it the little me time, if you can really dominate the me time right now. So I would say that right now keep working as far as anything, sharpening your tool with the mental game. And this is a great opportunity to, because we work on it tremendously, is the mental part. And so work on a routine every day, stick to it. Um, and I would say that, right now is finding new drills, things that you can do to separate yourself from everybody else out there right now. This is the perfect opportunity to pass people up.
Yeah, it's well said, man. Well, hey, I can't tell you how much we appreciate the time. It's always great to talk to you, and I appreciate you again, kind of giving us a peek behind the curtain of the success you guys have and how you have it. So appreciate it, Rob.
Well, Ryan, thank you so much for what you do for everybody out there, especially these young kids, and for what you do for all the coaches. So I appreciate you, and anytime you want to talk to somebody, I'd be more than blessed to do so.
All right, brother. Hey,
All
stay
right,
safe,
take care.
my man.
You bet.
All right.
We'll see.